We tend to think of anxiety as a mental glitch, but what if that's not the whole story?
For some people, especially those with really powerful minds, the answer is actually no.
What if it's less of a fear and more of a calculation, the logical result of a brain working overtime?
It all comes down to having a brain with massive computational power, constantly running simulations.
It's kind of like being a chess grandmaster. You don't just see your next move.
You also see every single way you could possibly lose. Every potential failure becomes crystal clear.
This is basically something called predictive modeling. Your brain just simulates what could happen.
And this process is relentless. It's always analyzing, spotting patterns, and running scenarios.
So here's the catch. Unlike a computer, this powerful analysis engine has no off switch.
It can make you feel like you're a watchman on a tower, seeing storms long before anyone else.
It's not about being negative. It's about being prepared. You see the worst case to manage it.
So that feeling isn't necessarily fear. It's what you might call the burden of foresight.
This completely reframes anxiety, not as a disorder, but as the logical output of a specific process.
Which leaves us with a pretty interesting question. If seeing is a burden, what's the price of not seeing?
You know the feeling, right? Your body is wiped, but your mind is just going. If this sounds like your nightly routine, hey, you're in good company.
And the first word that probably jumps to mind is insomnia. But hang on, what if this isn't some kind of flaw?
What if it's actually a feature of a really powerful brain?
Let's give it a name, the Nocturnal Engine. And here's the wild part. Studies actually link being a night owl with a higher IQ.
See, your brain isn't broken, it's just hungry. It craves stimulation. During the day, distractions are everywhere, but at night, the world goes quiet.
So as the outside world fades, your brain starts making its own noise to fill the void.
Yeah, your mind basically turns into its own personal playground.
And to that busy brain of yours, sleep feels like a really boring interruption.
So let's reframe this entire experience. This is not a glitch in the system, which means that old label, insomniac, it just doesn't really fit.
You're more like a high-performance engine that just takes a little longer to cool down.
So the real question is, what amazing things is your engine going to build tonight?
Let's talk about why you might actually hate small talk. It's a real thing, and there's a reason for it. You know that feeling, right? That intense urge to just escape a pointless conversation?
Yeah, that recoil, it's not just about being shy. It's something else entirely.
It's a genuine intolerance, and it's all about how your brain is wired. They call it low information communication, basically conversations with zero nutritional value for your brain. And here's the thing, some brains don't just dislike it, they're actually hungry for something more.
This is cognitive hunger. Your brain literally needs to feed on new, complex ideas.
So, small talk, that's just cognitive static. Deep conversation, though, that's cognitive nutrition. So, why does it all feel so fake? Well, your brain sees right through the performance. To a brain that's hungry for real info, this social script just feels fake and so boring. It's not a real conversation. It's basically, a social primate grooming ritual.
And all this frustration, it can cause a pretty serious glitch in social situations.
It's the isolation glitch. You feel isolated because you just can't stand pointless conversation.
And this is so important. It's not a lack of social skills, it's a lack of patience for the script.
Okay, so this totally reframes the whole thing, which leaves us with one big question.
Next time you feel that urge, ask yourself, is this a flaw or is it just a feature of my brain?
Ever get completely stuck on what seems like a simple choice? Let's get into the optimization paradox.
Okay, let's say you need a new toaster. Seems easy enough, right?
But then, fast forward a few hours. Now you're an expert on vintage heating coils, but you still don't have a toaster.
Yeah? Does that whole spiral feel a little too familiar?
Well, that feeling, it actually has a name. It's called analysis paralysis.
You might also know it as the maximizer trap. So, to really get this, we gotta look at two ways our brains make decisions.
On one side, you've got satisficing. On the other, optimizing.
Satisficing is simple. It's just finding what's good enough so you can move on with your life.
Optimizing, though, that's the hunt for the absolute single best possible choice out there.
I mean, what's so wrong with trying to find the perfect option, right?
Well, the problem is our brains are so good at analyzing, they feel forced to check everything. So every little choice just explodes into this huge tree of endless possibilities. And if you pick one path, you lose all the others. Your brain literally sees that as a failure.
So here's the glitch. You can analyze way more data than you can ever actually act on.
And all this conflict, it leads to one final predictable state.
You end up totally frozen, just stuck in the doorway, unable to move.
Because you're terrified that if you walk through, you'll miss something better somewhere else.
So it makes you wonder, maybe good enough is actually the perfect choice after all.
Let's talk about a totally different way some people experience the world around them. So picture this. You walk into a room. What's the very first thing you notice?
For some, it's not the big picture. It's the tiny little details, right away.
That background hum everyone else tunes out? To you, it's crystal clear.
Or smells, even ones that most people would have stopped noticing ages ago. This constant stream of information, it can be, well, a lot to take in.
So what is this heightened way of seeing things? It actually has a name.
It's called low latent inhibition, and it's like having a broken filter in your mind.
Basically, your brain's natural spam filter just isn't working like it's supposed to.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. Let's compare this to a typical brain.
See, most of our brains just junk about 99% of sensory info to help us focus.
But with an LLI brain, that filter's wide open. Everything gets in, all of it. But, this glitch has a pretty amazing upside, incredible creativity.
You're seeing connections that other people just totally miss. You notice everything.
But like any superpower, it definitely has a downside. It can be a real struggle.
The world can just feel way too loud, too bright, completely overwhelming.
I mean, it's like your brain is trying to process the entire universe all at once.
So you end up with this incredible split, this two-sided coin.
A glitch, yeah, but one that could make you a brilliant artist, not so great for office work. Which makes you wonder, is it really a glitch in the system, or is it a feature?
Okay, let's dive into a powerful and kind of unsettling idea about high intelligence.
See, this paradox suggests that being super smart isn't always a gift. It can be a heavy burden.
And this isn't just some personality quirk. It's seen as a fundamental glitch.
So why is seeing things so clearly so difficult? What's the mechanism here? Well, at its core, intelligence just strips away illusions to see how things really work.
Most of us get by with these things, right? Comforting lies and widely accepted ideas.
But the highly intelligent mind doesn't just accept them, it takes them apart. So on one side, you've got society's simple rules. On the other, a much harsher reality. And when you see that reality, you've basically pierced the veil of society's games.
Which leaves you staring down one single, absolutely terrifying question.
Now, this feeling isn't a malfunction. It's actually a state of pure clarity. And it has a name: existential depression. It's philosophical, not chemical.
So the key difference is this. It's not that your brain is broken.
It's that your brain is actually working too well. It's become hyperfunctional.
It's like this mind has performed the ultimate math problem. It's calculated the sum of everything,
And the answer it came back with is 0. A feature, not a bug.